Hey, what's up, everybody? It's No One Shall back here yet again with another Star Trek Fleet Command video. Today we're going to do an interview, but first, before we get started, let's have a moment for Jesse James. He's a young man in his 20s. He's dying of cancer, and I hear he doesn't have much long left. We need to show our respect, our prayers, our vibes, our powers, whatever you want to call it. Let's take that moment of silence. Let's do 5 seconds and give it that for right now. All right, guys. If you haven't seen on the main Discord of the Star Trek Fleet Command, Morningard is posting some good ideas about Jesse James. Either they dedicate a planet to him, they dedicate a system to him, or at least dedicate a pack that is dedicated to cancer research, where all the proceeds go to him. Please support that and help us out with that. All right, today I am joined by LGN Admiral 688, 668. I can never remember the last of that.
It's
So,
688.
yeah, 688. So here he is. Tell me a little bit about yourself and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, first thing I'd like to say is our sympathies for Jesse's situation, and I think he's a very brave young man in handling everything the way that he has, and I will support whatever effort is going to come out of all the requests. Um, so, uh, aside from that, I've been playing Fleet Command probably since a little bit late November, early December. Um, Started out, and of course, in a no-name alliance. Honestly, didn't know if even many of those people were the active players, but once I got to a certain level, I started reaching out. Um, Started seeing a lot of activity. Went to go from 14 to 15. That's kind of like your waking moment. As soon as you start getting base hits and everything like that, you're actually part of the playing public instead of just a passerby out there. So um, started reaching out. Saw a friend of mine went to uh, my current alliance, which back then was uh, DRKA. There's a DRKA and a DRKB out there, and I decided to reach out to Olim Tane since he was on the frequent flyer list of people raiding my base. So I figured, what's the best way to get this to stop? Maybe I can sit there and join up and join alliances and become part of the bigger picture. So I joined back in, I would say, late December, early January, and have been a proud member ever since.
All right, so touching on the DRKA and B subject, that initial poke war thing with PAX that kind of disassembled both alliances into one unit. What was up with that?
Um, well, when we were playing, I kind of stumbled into DRKA at the beginning of that entire row. So the conditions that created the war, I was unaware of. I just kind of stumbled into it, so to speak, and just became a participant, thinking that, hey, this is standard normal procedure. So, we continued on, had the war, went to a peaceful footing. Um, but Drac A, Drac B was kind of a split alliance. The way I understand most of the larger alliances were when I came up to speed to being in a larger alliance. We had a lot of players who wanted to play one style. Those were in one side. Another style of players wanted to be more casual. They were on the other side. And at some point in time, before I became admiral, there was a consolidation factor that happened where everybody wanted to kind of consolidate into one alliance or move on to another alliance. So in the midst of that, instead of keeping the same Drac A monikers, we just rebranded as Legion and moved on from there. Still to this day, both legions or both alliances are pretty friendly towards each other, and same people you run into day by day are good friends and everything. You're sharing nodes with each other. You're helping each other here, there, and everywhere, wherever you can. So things really didn't change. It was just really much of a branding thing.
Yeah, so what was the secondary alliance now as of this point?
The secondary alliance, if I'm not mistaken, they had rebranded into Gen P for their
Oh,
separate
yes, yes,
identity,
yes. Endo's
and
alliance.
and up until recently, I believe Envelicus has been the Admiral of Gen P.
He
Since
just recently stepped down, I heard.
yeah, I just found out about that last night. So I've with everything going on in Starfleet Command land and my own personal life, I just haven't had much of a chance to really kick back and find out, all the new players in that particular alliance. But I'm sure, they will continue on in the same fashion that they have before.
Yes, yes. Now we have our main alliance split into two other factions, and then some of the remainders scattered off in the wind to other alliances. So our main alliance is PAX, and they were really huge, really powerful, and basically ruled our server. Not to say anything mean or nothing, but they held the power, held the reins in our server. They could do what they want when they wanted. Now they went down to power, and they went down to, it was at first named TDB, but they renamed it to Jesse, as in for Jesse James, as like a memory of him, which I think that's pretty cool. That alliance is named after him. He's still going to what I hear, but he doesn't have much time. It's sad. It's a sad time on our server now. Our server's at war, hitting each other. Just needs to be peaceful right now. It's beyond too much for a lot of people, including me. I don't want to deal with the war drama again because last time I was the center of attention. I don't want to be the center of attention again. Uh,
Well,
I don't like being the figurehead. I don't like that at all.
you know what? You got to look at it this way: good press, bad press. At least they got your name right.
Yeah, true, but I see people always spell it wrong. No and no one. It's just come on. It's no one, like no and the number one. Come on. That's why my channel is no one shall. It's usually meant no one shall touch me, but people don't listen.
Well,
uh,
there's always somebody that's going to have to, test the limits and everything like that.
yeah,
Um,
but most people know how I play the game and who I am. My in-game persona and my out-game persona are the same thing. I act the same as I do in-game, out-of-game. As you've met before, you've talked to me multiple times or in-game and then in Discord, and you know how I act. I probably don't act any different than I do out of it.
yeah, I'm the same way. I try to keep an evenly balanced keel. I see, the way things are, shaping up and everything like that. And yeah, I'd like to see things settle down a little bit. I'm going to stay out of, as much of the warring scenario as possible, only because, I think, being more level-headed actually helps as a whole with
Yeah,
both our alliance and our interactions with other alliances within the server. And I want to do my best part to bring a sense of stability to where I can when I can. Um,
yeah. I've already been
I,
told to drop EXO already once, and it's a tempting thing to do right now, just to keep my head out of the game, because I want to just do my bare minimum, do my thing, do my events, and be a happy little camper.
yeah, I think we all want days like that. Some days are going to be better than others. Some days are going to be worse than others. But at the end of the day, I hope things just kind of relax a little bit. The server is going through a lot of major dynamic changes because of the one powerful alliance that we have is broken into several different alliances, and that's going to take some time to settle down. I mean, it took some time to build up. Um, I will give hats off and much respect to those guys for building such a powerful
Oh
alliance.
yeah,
Um, you know, uh, from a from an in-game perspective, I mean that really speaks volumes. But things are changing, and we'll just have to see how everything plays out in a couple weeks. I mean, you know, these things are going to change the dynamics for every alliance in the server.
it's true.
Um, so it. Um, I'm still waiting to see what they do about the server merges and everything like that. But that's like our mod is coming soon.
Yeah, or it's working as intended. That is the main
Yeah,
thing. But right now, Scopely's trying to do their thing, trying to make what they can. The events have gotten a little better besides that mining event last week that made me want to bash my head in the wall. Um, it's been getting better. We can't say it hasn't. Since November, since you and I started, the game has gotten quite a bit better than it was. At least people can earn a tier 1 faction ship now, which is kind of nice.
oh yeah, yeah. I think since I will say the dark days of January, February, when the entire server population has essentially been debugging the bugs that exist in the game, which cause a lot of people frustration, angst, and probably led to a lot of people actually leaving at a point where they did. But at this point in time, I see the product is shaping up. The rewards, although not as good as they could be, have been balanced between your paying individuals and free to play players. I will give them kudos for the Franklin event. That has been a very tough grind for everybody, but it did level the playing field and say this is something you can compete in, whether or not you're paying or you're free to play. You have the ability to get this ship. You have the reach of being able to do the missions, and that is a good offering from them, although in my opinion maybe a little bit too little, a little bit too late for the diehards who really wanted to get a very good experience out of the platform. But it is getting better. I think the swarm events are shall I say a little bit
Lackluster.
uh, I would say lackluster, but it kind of gives people a balance in the economy because you can take the biomass and create whatever kind of resource you need. Yeah, it's not going to get you to build up to a level 35 base, but you know what? It will give you enough to get your dailies done and go through the day to day if you're conservative on expanding your RSS.
Yeah. Conservative. Yeah. Let's not talk about conservative. I usually go through RSS like water. Right now, I'm at a standstill since my shipyard isn't 30 yet. I need another 100 or so crystal just to get it to 30, and then I need 20 more blueprints so I can get my Antares. So I can finally start getting my butt out there just a little bit further than I was. I remember the first time I met you was when I ran you over with my my miner.
Yeah, that was actually in Tau Ceti. The funny thing is, you bring that up, and I was actually thinking about that before we started doing the interview today, and I was going to reflect on how many people have made good relationships and have just met other people just through the sheer fact of people going PvP on each other that never really encountered each other before.
There's quite a few people that I've met that have become friends from it. It's kind of scary. Like I met Miss Bacon. I don't remember exactly how. I don't think I ran her over, but we started talking because Endo made his own private Discord, and that's where a lot of us laid down and met. Like I met Endo. That was the first time meeting Endo. I didn't know about him,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was Istio. Istio's become an amazing friend of mine. He's a great source of information in this game, and then Bacon is an amazing woman. She is awesome. She helps me out when I need it with more of my mental anguishes that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, especially as of late. I've dealt with way too much. But it's gotten having friends in this game and having a community that supports you, it makes the game worth playing. Sometimes days we have the game we want to tear our hair out and get off the game and say, nope, not going to happen. Or want to lose our mind and just start wrecking systems. I used to do that in the day when I had a bad day at work, when I had a job. I would just go out and just destroy entire systems. I don't care who they were. I used to do that. I, I had a bad mentality in the day.
I think in the beginning we all had a little bit of stuff to work out. I remember when I first started playing. I think one of the first tactics that I picked up on was one Admiral Nimitz had brought up in one of your previous podcasts about the running around and killing everything with the jellyfish tactic, which is I think how he wound up meeting Elimtane from Legion, who I will shout out to as being the guy that really got me into playing the game more mainstream because of such tactics. But it goes back to the whole thing where, if that kind of dynamic wasn't happening in the game, you wouldn't have woken up a little bit to look around and see what was going on. Um, yeah, the whole stress factor that a lot of people bring up, where like some people go out and waste systems, some people do this, that, and the other thing. I try to keep a level head on myself during the entire course of playing the game. I mean, sometimes people go through when they're like, if I'm having a bad day, sometimes I don't want to take it out on somebody else because maybe they're having a bad day. We're all guys behind the keyboard. We've got our little, spaceships and everything like that. But at the end of the day, everybody's trying to enjoy themselves, play, have fun, in whatever kind of guise they want to in the game. I mean, yes, we've got miners, we've got PvPers, we've got pirates. There's a lot of guys out there, but at the end of the day, everybody's still trying to have the same amount of fun that they came into the game looking for in the first place. So I try to keep everything light. The funny thing is, anybody that's ever hit me or like has found a chance to, find me with shields down or something like that. Even when that kind of stuff comes around, I still try to keep a light head about it. And sometimes if I'm repelling somebody, I'll throw them something like an answering machine message that you'd get back in the day in the 80s or 90s on like an answering machine if you called somebody, and just things to kind of put some levity into the game instead of getting all upset about things. You're here to have fun. Let's have fun. Be light about it and enjoy our time in the game. Because as you had said, you're going through your situation with the job and everything like that. You're getting your channel going and everything like that. You've got that external stress to deal with. I've got a couple things externally stressing with myself. A couple people in Legion already know, but my daughter had an auto accident a couple weeks
Oh
ago.
yeah, you
So
remember you telling me about that.
yeah, we were dealing with that and everything. And, I've got that kind of stuff. And, from my perspective, if somebody does something in the game I don't like and I'm upset because of the auto stuff, I'm not going to go back and, just, take my revenge and, rain photon or, energy weapon death on somebody like that. I've got other things I've got to worry about. And, what comes around goes around.
Yeah. What faction did you end up going anyways? I don't think I've ever seen it.
I have actually been playing faction for a couple months. I went Federation because from a Star Trek perspective, I'm classic. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Watched that on TV when I was growing up. Although it was in syndication, it was reruns. I wasn't watching the original stuff.
Me either.
Um,
I saw all the reruns.
So, I remember watching them when I was a child, and that kind of gravitated me towards the entire Star Trek thing for a long time. I've been a fan of the franchise for quite a bit. Some series more than others, but I decided to go Federation because hey, that's the classic thing everybody wants to do. You've got the Klingons and the Romulans, and you're hunting them down, and I've been having fun. Although when you're trying to do a dual faction thing, I've got a lot of red to unbury myself from between Klingon and Rom.
You should. I'm negative 2 million on both, so I have no chance right now. I have to
Yeah,
dig myself out of that grave, and I'm not really willing to do it right now since I'm trying to earn my Fed faction credits so I can get my Antares. I'm so close, and I can't spend any money because well, no money.
yeah. I've kind of tried to peel myself back, and I'm kind of a player where I'm going to be spending more time in the game during the fall and winter months. During the spring and summer, I've got a large property out here in suburban Philadelphia, so a lot of my time takes me to the care and maintenance of that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm spending a little bit less time in game during the summer months, but man, I'm still there. I've got time to, most of my time comes at night or early in the morning before I get into my routine. So I try to keep as active as possible. And, I will acknowledge that we've gone through a little bit of an ebb and flow with summertime coming around. We've seen a lot of people just, decide to, go on hiatus for a little
Mm-hmm.
bit or, throttle down or, some of my guys are on, a couple of weeks vacation and whatnot. So everybody kind of deserves a break from everything. At some point
Especially
in
this
time,
game.
yeah, it could be a little bit trying at times. I couldn't tell you how many times I was sitting around a meeting room and all of a sudden I get some kind of alert on my phone. I look down to see what it is, and it's like, oh, somebody's attacking your base. Yeah, how do you excuse yourself out of a meeting for
I
that?
need to go to the restroom desperately.
Yes, excuse me, I'm being paged.
Excuse me, I'm being killed. I mean, I need to go to the bathroom. Sorry. Yeah, from the thing for
I
me.
must answer.
For my old job, I had nothing but time on my hands. I could sit and play Star Trek all day long, and while now I'm jobless, I have that ability to do that again. But
That during the
I lost a
oh, go ahead. I'm
little
sorry.
love for doing that now. Now I'm home and I'm kind of procrastinating everything I'm doing now. I've done all my responsibilities to file from unemployment, to file with other things I don't want to say out loud because people are going to know my personal matters. But I think personally, I'm taking a few months off because I need it. I've done a job for a decade that I was underappreciated at. I was abused. I was mentally abused. It was just a ridiculous thing I had to deal with. What?
Yeah, sometimes you do need to get that break. You know, 10 years is a long time to be in a position, and sometimes when you've gotten a situation that you're at right now, you just gotta put the brakes on, take some time for yourself, and reset, retool, re-energize. Um, yeah, I'm right now going through a reorganization, and it's been trying. I know I'm going to have a position. It's just when you're sitting there trying to figure out what's going on in the organization and where things are going, you kind of have to just kick back and take stock. So at that point, I'm taking a couple of weeks break before I start my new position, and just enjoying myself. Spend a little bit more time in games, spend a little bit more time with the kids, go out, jump in the pool, do something. I mean, just do things that you really haven't had a chance to do for a while, only because things are going to start ramping back up, and you're going to be back to the old grind.
Exactly. Like, what do you think about today's event, in your opinion? Since we got the Battle for Glory back.
Oh, I really haven't had a chance to check it out during the sound checks and everything like that. I, in good faith, sent my Kumi out to a level 31 system, figuring, okay, I'll polish off a couple of explorers beforehand, and then push comes to shove. 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I think I left that crew going, man. Let's see what happens. And of course, we're back to dry dock in a destroyed state. But I actually think that this type of event is probably one of my more favorite events, only because, hey, guess what? I can go out there, I can do some quick hits, I can get a lot of rewards and turn those rewards into, like, things for the ship, things for the base. Just continue the day-to-day grind of construction, or carrying, and you know, at that point, just build a stronger fleet.
Exactly. I like these events. The rewards, in my opinion, aren't that great. We have no trade on this one, so it's not covering part of repair costs. But upside is that we're getting the lithium from it, and we're getting we're getting uncommons from it.
Yeah, and that's I'm sure you're in the same boat that I am in. I've got the good old uncommon bottleneck of playing crafts at the refinery, and you know at this point, since I am on the cusp of 27, trying to finish off the last of 26, is it is a grind. You know Now operations wants more ore, and the only thing I can say is there's only so many mines, so many players, and so many shots at the refinery.
Yeah, unless you're willing to open your wallet or you're willing to take a risk to mine. Sometimes once a day, if I have nothing to refine, maybe if I have 2K, I'll do the one shotters and just do the small refines if I need be. But that, besides that, it's just sometimes I get the crapshoot on that one too.
See what
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. Go ahead.
I was going to say, my strategy for that is just to build up a big reserve of RSS, and just constantly hit the trickle on the mines, because from my perspective, I've seen the single small batch as being the most productive, and as long as I'm on target, hitting that twice a day or 3 times a day, however many times we've got it, I will eventually get there. And that's kind of like a back burner thing, because in the front, I'm doing other things. I'm killing the hostiles, trying to tear up the ships, doing as many special events as I can. So, I'm looking at it like this way. Um, Over the course of time, if you're cooking, you've got a couple different things on different burners at the same time. As long as I'm consistent in my application, my approach, and my ability to reach the short-term goals I set for myself in regards to building up, power based on either base or ships, then I'm on my track. I mean, I've done some spending in the game. I've refrained from other spending, just because why should I pay for something that I can get for free? And 9 times out of 10, the only things I've really done are pick up speed up packs just because of my impatience.
Yeah. As we're talking right now, I'm getting chased by Steve is here with this godforsaken war when I'm just trying to do my dailies. I have 3 ships on my tail right now. Dude, it's ridiculous. I'm trying to stay away from all these politics. I don't want to deal with these politics. It's beyond ridiculous in my opinion.
I'm
Man,
glad you reminded me because I'm just going to sit there and get my repairs going on while we're talking. Um, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a trying time in the universe right now, but things will settle down.
yeah. Well, he chased me, unsuccessfully got me, tried to chase me with a slower ship. I win. I
What was
was
he
able
chasing you with?
Oh, he was chasing me with his, let's see. Now he's resetting back up to try to chase me again. Let's see, he has his, I think this is a Bortus he was chasing me with, but let's see who else is here. Unmade chased me too, and I didn't think he would ever do that either. I think they're gonna try blockading me from hitting 32s.
Ah,
I have nothing to do with this war either. That's the sad part. And I'm not gonna have anything to do with it. I'm just trying to do my dailies and do this at the same time. I can't leave a
no,
blank screen going.
my heart goes out to you, man. Sometimes, sometimes just because you're wearing a tag, you're the target.
Yeah, last time I was a
Yeah.
figurehead. I'm not being that again. Hey, speaking of Lim Tame, he's in GC right now.
Ah,
I just scrolled over. Ugh, I just want to get this thing
I'll
done.
wave to him out there. I wonder if he's seeing me. Probably not.
I don't know. It's not a live show, but it's gonna be recorded, posted or edited, and put up right after we're done with the conversation. Let's see. What else do we want to? What do you want to touch on? How do you feel about the game as a whole, as right now?
Are we talking about the game itself or the alliances which make up our server 18?
Let's talk about the game. The Lions part, let's leave that off the table for right now.
Okay. I think the game has a lot, a lot of promise at this point. I understand, and since you may be more plugged into this, you may correct me if I'm wrong, but everything above level 40 is still under development.
Yes, 39 is the stopping point, right, as of this current moment.
So it's kind of, I guess it's kind of frustrating for some of our more high-end players that are, already in their, late 30s level looking for the next thing. I'm hoping that Scopely will deliver. It would be nice to see what the next level faction ships are going to be. So I'm kind of waiting with that for, it's kind of got me a little excited and, keeps me in the game. It's like, okay, I'm not there yet. I'm only at 26, going on 27, barely getting my tier 5 on my Mayflower going on. But, at this point, my short-term goal is a Saladin. I'm sure, a lot of you guys already have them. Probably are like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's nice, kid. Go ahead. But, I've got my brackets set up. But I think the platform's got a lot to offer. One thing I'd like to know is, are they ever going to take that placeholder of a marketplace and turn it into something that everybody could use?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
wondering too. It'd be awesome when they do it. If they do it, it'd be a nice thing to have. We need something to create a new form of economy in the game. It'll create a whole new set of factions, a whole new set of everything just for us. Like, bring the Ferengi in. Let's use that as the tool for it. And let's go on from there. That's all we got to do.
well,
And just
I
do
think the
player,
marketplace.
yeah, sorry.
Go
Just,
ahead, go
I
ahead.
think Ferengi would be a good thing.
Now, I think the marketplace has a lot of promise for when you want to trade things inter-alliance, because there's a lot of guys out there that are probably different factions than I'm in, that are, they're swimming in uncommon ore, can't get rid of it if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't the game allow me to trade that for uncommon gas that I have, because I'm sitting on, a metric ton of gas myself? If a friend of mine in my alliance needs gas, use the marketplace. Let's trade that. You're building yourself up. You're building better connections in the game. You're actually helping your alliance mates and everything. So let's use that as a positive, tool to develop and, let the players have access to a mechanism that could benefit everybody.
Or
I
like
think
sell our extra
Scopely,
blueprints too. Blueprints, your resources, anything that we have, we should be able to trade them in for, let's say, Latinum, and then from there move from that point. You sell something, you get Latinum. It'll create another money flow for Scopely, and then it would create an easier way for a lot of players to do other things. And you should be able to allow like a full on like gifting system. Like, oh dude, you need a 10 mil steel? here you go. Oh, you need this? Here you go. And it'd be just something cool. That's in my
Oh,
opinion.
agreed. And the thing is, not only would that help players with RSS and material needs, but I think if Scopely actually went out on a limb and did that, that would be creating more of a tighter community, um, and people would be more involved. I think at this point, there's a lot of folks that look at some of the carrot and stick mechanisms as far as packs go in the game, where some of the packs are just extremely out of the range for your casual player or something or of that nature. Or you've got other people who they don't want to spend because of the way Scopely just keeps on hammering you and hammering and hammering you for that kind of thing. I think if they kind of relaxed some of the pricing a little bit and enabled a little bit of in-game trading, that would bring a lot more, what's the phrase I'm looking for, goodwill towards them and people's willingness to continue on with the platform as it stands. I mean, we went through the one period of time where everybody was having, shields fail and everything. And I think one of the better things that they did was they did good on the make good for the bug that they had in their platform. Yeah,
Exactly.
that was a good reach out to your player base to say, okay, guys, we know this is happening. We can. It's not like they can't see it in the logs or anything like that. And my background is actually in application development as well. We use some of the same mechanisms that they use within their organization, and it's not like things go through bug free every week. I mean, if that was the case, we'd never be off of version 1.0 of anything.
That is
Um,
true.
so I think in shutting that mechanism down, they kind of alienated the community a little bit. So, it might be a good thing for them to do something to make up for that. That would gain them a lot of goodwill. Um, if you take a look at a lot of the press briefings that are out there now, you see that Scopely's on a roll with having good quarters, expanding their payroll and everything like that. And that's just really a direct result on the success of this particular platform. If you take a look at some of the other platforms they've got, you've got the same type of complaints and everything like that. So you're seeing that propagate through. And I think if they wanted to really solidify things, they would kind of take a more of a goodwill based track with this platform, because just in the content itself, you've got a dedicated user base
Hmm.
that enjoy the Star Trek theme, that are fans of the franchise, and that's something that they should take into mind, because unlike the other things that are out there where you've got casual players which might walk away from a game after 2 or 3 months, you've got your built-in fan base that sticks around. I mean, what, 3 4 years ago everybody was playing Angry Birds, now it's
Now
Angry.
it's angry Star Trek players. This time we're throwing ships at each other and blowing each other up.
That's
Uh,
true. Hold on for a second. Let me.
oh.
I'm sorry. All of a sudden, the pinball machine behind me just started freaking out, and it needs some maintenance. So instead of trying to sit there and play with it, I just shut it off.
I
I
didn't
didn't
even
know
hear
if you
it.
could hear.
No, I
Oh, you
didn't.
didn't?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was bleeding over. You can just hear a bunch of the sounds going off because it was doing a self check, and I have some work to do on the soundboard, and it was just kind of going crazy. I didn't know if it was bleeding over or not.
A lot of soldering, I'm guessing.
A lot of what?
Soldering?
Um, Not as much soldering as it is working with like Molex connectors and just small 30-year-old wires that probably need to be replaced. I mean, if I pull the glass up and get underneath the um, the table, there's a lot of soldering and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, this was a project machine that I did maybe about 2 years ago. I removed everything, resoldered it, so it's all brand new. But there's still componentry that goes amok from time to time, and sometimes joints fail, or some of the 30-year-old wires need to be replaced. So I just have to go through and find out what was kicking that particular thing off.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
So that's like your hobby, right? You do a lot of arcade work, and then you buy them, and then you fix them, and sometimes you resell them. Correct?
um, typically, I try not to sell anything in my stable though. But I do a lot of repair work for the arcade community. Um, Part of my background is electrical engineering, and I still work on. I don't know if you can see in the periphery of the camera, but I have a couple of asteroids machines here from the late '70s, um, and in the hobby of arcade repair, I'm a analog specialist. So if you remember the games like Battlezone, um, Star Trek Strategic Simulator, Asteroids, Star Castle, any of the old vector games, I'm pretty much known in the community for repairing, rebuilding, and restoring those boards back to functionality. It's a labor of love. You don't really ask too much in the community for it. Um, but I'm one of the few folks that does the electronics portion of the show. There are other people that do ROM burning, cabinetry work to restore cabinets. So everybody's got their own particular skill sets, and mine just happens to be working on the core of the machine. So I try to get I get a lot of requests. That's kind of more of a wintertime hobby where October, November comes around. The weather in suburban Philadelphia starts getting to the point where you're hanging outside more than inside. So, go into the workshop and throw a couple boards on the bench, start desoldering, resoldering, looking for issues, trying to find out where the bad resistors are, bad capacitors, that kind of thing. I
Yeah,
mean, from an electronic standpoint, it's very simple, but some guys that just own the games don't know how to fix them, and that's my portion of the hobby.
yeah. How long have we going? How have we been going for? I don't even know right now. I don't have a timer or nothing set today.
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, we just started talking, and things have been rolling from there.
Yeah. Let's try to find our last subject before we kill this stream off and make this video and wrap it up. Let's see where do we want to go with this one. Anything you want to think about or talk about that's on your mind currently about the game or other subjects so far?
Um, Not really. I think we covered a lot of the I shall say subjects of the week. As far as server 18 goes, um, one thing I will do is I will shout out to Legion, thanking them for being a good group of players and officers during the course of our collective times on the server. Thank you very much. And also a good shout out to everybody else in the game for just being all good guys and enjoying the play, whether it be like competitive or um, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like PvP or that kind
PvE.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't had enough coffee today, man.
So one more
But,
thing before we go. Like I said, let's support Jesse James. Let's hope Scopely does something for this fine young man. And remember, send your thoughts, your prayers, your vibes, whatever you want to call it, toward his direction. And hopefully, there's some type of miracle that will help him out. All right, it's No One Shall yet again on Star Trek Fleet Command. Don't forget there is a don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon at the bottom. And remember, you can join my Discord, come talk to us, come be friendly with us. And there is a donation button if you are inclined to send anything my way. It is No One Shall signing off yet again. Have a wonderful day and just keep that bubble up when you're mad. Later, guys.